and I'm a human weapon, right? I mean, they explained to me that there's this target. I'm like, okay, right,
Hmm.
and that's that. So I mean, sooner or later, the character's going to have more weight to them. But at the moment, I'm playing an almost disturbingly neutral, you know, kind of guy at the moment. Sooner or later, something will flip my lid and you'll see what he's really all about. But, you know, at the moment, he just seems like this the horrific shell, with martial arts written on the inside of it.
Hmm.
So okay. But the point is that someone in the group is going to have to come up with this stuff. Somebody will have had to investigate that corporation, to learn about its hierarchy. And then
Right.
it's, my job to go and, strike precisely.
Yeah,
Um,
it's funny because the style is I'm calling it cyberpunk without cyber
right. Oh, I get that.
basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so it's any kind of like mission
Right.
um straight out of a cyberpunk story or movie would
Mm-hmm.
would probably fit in, or action stuff.
I
I
was going to
originally did
say
have
one
a
the non-mission form is basically, evade the threat or stay one step ahead of the threat that's after you.
right,
Right. But go on.
right,
Yeah.
or just deal with personal shit like,
Right.
yeah, guys, I know, but here's something that happened, today, and now I want to deal with it, and you can
Right.
either choose to help me or not.
Right.
Um, Originally, I had a pretty rigid structure in place, based on the story circle, which I kind of gave up on just
I
because it
remember
was
you talking
too
about
rigid.
this. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. But it opened up. It was kind of neat because it opened up a realm of being able to have the game where the person's like, no, this isn't for me. I'm not. I got too much to lose. I can't go in on this mission. And part of the game is for that person to say no, and then for some weight or something applied to that character in order to make them say yes. But they say no, knowing that that character is going to change.
Right.
But
So
it's
it's
just part of
given
that.
that they're
It's
going to be in it, and that's all there is
it,
to it.
it's like it's
Right.
like in these stories, there's always somebody who can't. You always got to bring somebody out of retirement,
Right.
whatever.
Right. Or
Either
yeah.
blackmail them or appeal to their better nature or whatever,
Or
and
give
eventually they
up. They'll
relent.
give up when they refuse, but then they show up after all.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah.
Now, fair enough, but let's talk less about structure and more about activity. Let's say that it is time for me to go and I have determined, or we have determined, that the thing we need is for this executive guy basically um, needs to be um, you know I mean, I could just kill him, but apparently that's not what we do. So I'm going to, and we don't want him dead. I mean, he's not like guilty of anything or whatever. He just needs to be eliminated for a period of time so that the organization is destabilized and vulnerable to other things. So, so let's say that what I'm going to do is basically put him in a coma that I know he can come out of. And I do that with like I got my plan for my double strike technique that'll do this. Um, and so basically, I'm going to have to get set up so that I can actually do this to him. And um, so sure, this guy plays squash at the health club or at the gym, every 3 times a week, um, and I'll be waiting in the parking lot, and I'm just planning on just like looming up and giving this guy this twin strike that puts him in a coma, and just like walking off, or turning around, and then one of the other crew just is like right there in a car, and I just step in,
Right.
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 um, and who knows? I mean, security cameras cover a lot of places, but not here.
Right.
Whatever. So, and who knows? That's the problem. That's what the dice are for, right? To tell us if we did that right.
Right.
So talk to me about the resolution. What do we
Okay.
do? Is this
Well,
something we resolve, or is this something that we do and we roll dice or whatever for other things?
no, this is something that gets resolved
Tell me how.
using skills.
Right. So I've got these
Um,
insane skills.
right, or not insane skills. I don't know. But you're rolling a bunch of dice. It's very much like Octane system.
Mm-hmm.
It's just beefed up, and it's without the narrative controlled
Right.
madness
Right. Right.
and plot points. It's
So tell me what I've got
so
in my hands. A bunch of d6s.
so d6s. Yep, you have between two. Usually, you'd have two and let's say 2 and 5. But as a starting character, you'd probably be an expert, so you'd have 4
Got it.
in
Got my
fighting.
Yeah.
But the question is, the question is this you sneaking up on the guy?
Well,
Is this
one of those,
like
it's one of those horror movie things. Basically, it just turns around and I'm just there.
yeah,
Right.
yeah? The stealth might be to set up later stuff. Like there might be one of your people in the alley
Right.
disguised as a homeless guy waiting, and then the car's gonna one person's gonna drive in as you hit the guy, and the guy in the alley gets up, grabs the guy, and goes into the van, and everybody
Right.
right.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So he might be helping with his stealth and giving you an extra die so that you can get what you need done because he'll distract him or whatever.
Okay.
Hey buddy, got a smoke, and then bam.
Mm-hmm.
You roll the dice. You look at the highest number,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's a chart because charts rule. You want to roll high. You don't want to roll none.
A nice solid 6.
Great, awesome. High five. It goes exactly as planned. I'm using the basic dramatic structure of the yes, but, yes, and,
Okay.
no, but, no, and. So this would be a yes, and. This is like you accomplish your intent and task, and something else beneficial happens.
Clean.
So
maybe getting away clean with no is a whole task of its own. Because I mean, this is a high-end gym, and they are going to have security cameras and stuff. So doing this just right, it's like the Vaxian phraseology that he doesn't really explain. He's like just a one-line throwaway. Security cameras can't cover everywhere.
Yeah.
And then
or the guy just wasn't.
Right? He doesn't really explain what anybody does, but you're like, oh shit, man, that's cool. They know how to do that. And so
or it's like the guy didn't, just because the security camera doesn't mean it's gonna see that the guy got hit by somebody and dragged off, but
right.
Who knows?
So the point is that since that's pretty complicated and difficult, we figure we need a yes ands to pull it off completely, and that's why we all got involved. That's why I got the helping die. That's why other people were involved, right? Because we all had to work together to really rack up. We weren't going to be happy unless we had 5 dice in hand. Right.
Now, if this guy was a fighter, right? If this guy was also a martial artist, which who knows, right? He takes classes at the Y.
Right.
There's 2 things that happen. If he's higher skilled than you at martial arts, then he's going to reduce your total of dice by your highest die. So he's going to immediately strip out your highest die.
Good.
Of course, he's not high. He's not more skilled than you. That's crazy.
Right. And well, that's why they sent me on this one. But yeah, go ahead.
The other thing is if he has the ability at all, which means it's at least a 2, so it's going to be a 2, a 2, 3, or 4, right? Because then it would max tie your result. You would lose 1 die equal to his rating. So if he had a 2 fighting,
right? So that's before.
No, it's after you roll.
Oh, really?
It's
so which ones do I lose?
You lose so in his case, if he has fighting 2, you would lose a 2.
Oh, I see. That's kind of interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's
so
cool.
low level opponents will give you less dice ultimately, but probably won't affect you in the long run.
Well,
whereas a higher skilled opponent,
play testing, we'll see if that matters at all. But when you are in circumstances where you are rolling, 2 or 3 dice because of all the reasons, when you're in those circumstances, then you may be facing like 1s and 2s and 3s that are, and so somebody with an ability of 3 is going to hurt. Right.
Exactly. 3s and 4s will hurt.
Right.
2s are more like, okay, I have to fight a bunch of guys
right.
who are all 2s, but eventually I'm just going to run out of dice.
Right.
Because I need to use one die result for each of them.
Right.
So
that's kind of,
and that's how you get overwhelmed.
So let's say I make this roll. Maybe I'm getting too deep into the minutia here, but so I don't want to stay too long. Let's say I have a 1, a 3, a 5, a 6. 1, 2 3s, a 5, and a 6. That's what I just rolled here on my 5 dice.
Great.
So this guy is a 2, and I don't have any 2s showing. So nothing happens?
Mm-hmm. Nothing happens, yeah.
But
nothing to lose.
What if there's a bunch of him? What does that mean?
You didn't roll any 2s?
Right.
Then nothing happens. If there was a bunch of them and they all had 2s, then yeah, you'd start losing those 2s. Okay, one per opponent.
All right. Well, again, with this is the only way to assess these things is when we actually do it in play. But
right, and that's only when you're using the same skill.
Right. Okay.
That's only when you're using the same skill. So if you were fighting a brawler, and you're like, you're like, I'm not a brawler, I'm a martial artist. Then it doesn't matter what his skill level is.
Right. But it is very nice, for example, if 2 characters are stalking each other, so it does matter which one is stealthier, right? So, yeah. Okay, with all that stated, let's take a look now at a couple of things. Yes, and means we got it, and we got it the way we wanted it, effectively, right? And then you have this other interesting concern, and I'm really focusing a lot on this lately in games. What does it mean in terms of controller activity when I fail?
Right. Well, it depends on how you fail, because failure is anything other than a 5 or a 6 would be a failure.
So it's not
technically.
So it's not even a yes, but it's the next one down, which is a no and,
right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
or that would be a no but. A 3 would be a no but.
Let me see if I get this right, just because we're not looking at the table. Top is yes and.
I could.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's
6.
Yes but.
No, then there's yes.
Yeah.
Just straight on like.
Okay, and then there's yes but. Right.
Yes, something went wrong, and that introduces hazard.
Right. Good.
Which affects future die rolls.
That's what. Okay. So then, though, I want to know something. When you say no but, does that mean better than no or worse than no?
It's better than no.
Okay. So it's reverse. So no but, something good, then no, and then finally no and, meaning, and now you're in this, it's even worse, right? So
it's even, and there's a level worse than that too, where if you lose all your dice for some reason,
right,
where it's I call it it's the Lester Dent rule. It's down in the 0,
right?
Where as Lester Dent says, the controller can, quote, give it to you in the neck,
right?
So basically, the scene ends.
Right.
The scene just ends. It blacks out, and then when you rejoin that character, they're in the worst possible situation.
Right. So
you can move them in space and time.
It's the whole incapacitated result for Troll Babe, right?
Yeah.
Close it out, and I'm going to do with you as I will. So
and you're not going to die, but you're going to come to either literally or figuratively in a bad position.
Right.